Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go through an explanation video for electrolytes 1 and 2. So our first question says, what is the dissolution equation for chromium 3 chlorate? So the first thing we need to do is figure out the formula for chromium 3 chlorate. So we know that chromium 3, it tells us right there, has a +3 charge. And chlorate is just one of those ions we should know. It's also in our solubility table if we wanted to look it up. And chlorate is ClO3 minus. So we can do where we swap partners. So here we've got the +3, here we have -1, so we can swap those. And our formula is going to be CrClO in parentheses 3. All right, so let's go ahead and do the dissolution equation. So I'm going to go ahead and write out my formula. And we're going to use AQ to show that's aqueous. And then we're going to break this fully into ions. And we knew that we had a chromium +3 ion. And then we have 3 of our chlorate ions. So we'll put that out front. And again, we'll write our AQ for aqueous. So that is our dissolution equation. So the next question says, what would it look like? Oh, it's supposed to say beaker. It says beaker. We know it means beaker. What would it look like in a beaker if you dissolve 2 units of chromium 3 chlorate? So this is really sort of thinking about what is going on in a dissolution. So if I had 2 units of chromium chlorate and I broke those apart, in my beaker I'd have a chromium and 3 chlorates from the dissolution of the first unit, but it told me that I had 2 units. So then I'm going to have another chromium and then 3 more chlorates hanging around. And why does this matter? This gives us a better idea of what's really happening and that we have all of these ions mixing and floating in our solution. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this last question. It says, if you dissolved 1.5 mole of chromium 3 chlorate into 600 milliliters of water, what is the molarity of chlorate ions? Well, we know that molarity is equal to mole per liter. So if I want to, one of the first things I would need to do is think about transforming my 600 milliliters into liters. So I know that I have a relationship where there are 1,000 milliliters in every 1 liter. And I can go ahead and cancel out my unit of milliliter, and I'm into my unit of liter. And that gives me 0.6 liter. And then I can go ahead and do my molarity. So I know if I have 1.5 mole of chromium chlorate in every 0.6 liters, this is going to tell me the molarity of chromium 3 chlorate. And that's going to be 2.5 molar for chromium 3 chlorate. And that means that there's 2.5 moles for every 1 liter. But if we look, that's not what the question is asking us. It is asking us the molarity of chlorate ions. So we need to go a step further. So if we know there are 2.5 mole of chromium chlorate per every 1 liter, I can then look at the equation, the formula of my salt, and find the equivalency. I know that for every 1 mole of chromium 3 chlorate, there are 3 mole of chlorate ions. And we're just looking at how many of those are in each formula unit. If I look at that, I'm out of units of moles of chromium chlorate. I'm into units of moles of chlorate. And that's going to give me 7.5 molar, or mole per liter, of chlorate ion. If you have any questions, please feel free to come see me. Thanks so much.